My name is Chris Terrell, and I have been working on a video course, and I have decided to give away the first one of these for free to all of you, for you to see here. Now, I want to give people a chance to see what I talk about, see how I do things, see how coaching works with me. And what you see here is actually very much along the lines of how I approach things one-on-one and in group, as well as the video course that I'm working on as well. And I want to go ahead and give you a taste of this now that you can have. So, if you like this and you would like to learn more about it, be sure to check out my website, christerrellcoaching.com, and there's plenty of information there. You will also be able to download a form that I reference here in the video at christerrellcoaching.com to help you with the journaling exercise. I don't want to tell you what it is. That comes up later in the video. You'll see it when it comes up. Otherwise, please enjoy this free video for you, but hopefully you find this useful and hopefully it helps you in your weight loss journey. Hello, and welcome to the first of several videos in my education series on how to lose weight slowly, sustainably, and keep it off. This first lesson is probably not going to be like any weight loss course that you have ever gone through, but I start here for a very specific reason. I start on this topic, everything that I'm about to cover, for a very, very specific reason. Because weight loss is not just about the food. Most people follow a prescriptive style of weight loss, where it is tell me how much I got to eat, or not eat, and tell me what I got to exercise specifically, and I'll do that until I lose the weight. And of course, that never works. Why does that never work? Well, some of you are thinking that it does work because you've lost weight with it before. My problem was I just couldn't keep it off. See, this is where I want to make sure we have a philosophical agreement. An effective weight loss program must teach you how to lose weight and keep it off. If it does not teach you how to lose weight and keep it off, in my opinion, very ineffective. I've gone on lots of weight loss journeys in the past, always gained the weight back because I was following that prescriptive style weight loss that is so prevalent. Keto is my go-to. It's not the only one I did. I one time did this ultra low calorie diet where a doctor put me on 800 calories a day on nothing but shakes, puddings, and soups out of these packages. It was called New Directions, I believe. Oh, wow. I never fantasized about food more than when I was doing that. They actually would give you a prescription for appetite suppressants so that you could stick to it. And of course, here I am sitting here thinking this is a good idea, because the doctor's telling me, he just ran me through all these tests and told me all these big scary numbers about where I'm headed, and if I don't do this, I've got to do it. But I didn't. So we want to lose weight in a way that keeps it off. When I look at that New Directions diet I did, I lost weight, but it didn't teach me anything, because the moment I stopped doing it, I was the same as when I started. I had the same relationships with food, I had the same relationships with myself, I had the same cravings, I had the same habits, I had the same lifestyle, I had the same routines, because all the changes I made were temporary, and I knew they were temporary. I knew they were. So before we go much further, let's talk a little bit about how humans work, why we work the way we work. And this is very important to understand, because if you can understand yourself, you can begin to work with yourself and help to create change. And that's really what this is about, is creating change in your life, because your body is a byproduct of your lifestyle, habits, and routines. And we need to change your lifestyle, habits, and routines so that you can get and keep a new body. So there's this thing called the reticular activating system, or the RAS, the RAS, as I like to call it. Now, you have experienced this on a regular basis. The RAS working. This is a part of your brain with the brainstem and the nervous system. You give it commands and it sets out to help you achieve what it is that you desire. Have you ever bought a car and then saw that car everywhere? You see, that is the reticular activating system going at work. You have purchased this car, you give your brain a command to say, I own one of these. I need to know anytime you see this. Let me know so I can find my car. And of course, the RAS is stupid. It has no quality control filter. So you're in your own car and your brain is like, hey, there's one of our cars. And you're like, I'm in it. Like, I didn't need to know that, but thank you, brain. You have more than likely at some point in your life been in a room so noisy that you could hardly hear your own thoughts.
You can't make out any discernible words in the sea of noise. But I'm willing to bet that if you heard your name being spoken, even if you didn't know anybody there, you'd be like, huh? Somebody said my name. You would have heard it. You would have reacted to it. Because you have told your brain, this collection of noises, your name, you need to hear it every time that happens. The problem with the reticular activating system, the RAS, our brain, is you cannot tell it to not think of something. So for example, if I say don't think about polar bears, especially if I flash a picture of polar bears up on the screen right now and tell you not to think about polar bears, you're going to have a very hard time not thinking about polar bears. I really want you to stop thinking about polar bears. See how this works? But if I instead say, why don't you think about elephants, and I show a picture of an elephant, what are you thinking about now? Probably not polar bears. I just went and said it again. Now you're thinking about polar bears. See how this works here? So what do you think happens when you tell your brain, I can't have XYZ food. I can't have pizza. I can't have meat. I can't have carbs. I can't have this. I can't have that. Your brain begins to think of it. Every time you see it, your brain's like, oh, I can't have that. And you're thinking of it more and more. This is the creation of a restriction cycle, which we will dig into in another session. But the reticular activating system is an incredibly powerful tool, and one we are going to utilize throughout this entire process of losing weight. But it's one that I wanted you to be mindful of. So all humans work the same way. All of us. You are no different. I am no different. No one is special on the thing I'm about to tell you. We are all motivated by two things. We want to avoid pain and experience pleasure. That's it. But it's not binary. It's not one or the other. We will go through a little pain if it avoids a greater pain, especially if we believe that leads to pleasure down the road. This is so critical to understand, because every decision you have ever made in your entire life, be it conscious or subconscious, runs through your pain pleasure filter. What am I going to get? So every weight loss journey in the past and in the present and in the future, all of them, will begin with some sort of source of motivation. A very common source of motivation is what I lovingly refer to as an oh shit moment. You know, it could be like you get on the scale and you look down and you're like, shit, I said I'd do something before I saw that number. Or one of my favorites, this actually happened to me. I was at a pool at my parents' house. My whole family was there. And I decided to take my shirt off, which was super unusual for me. And we were doing a diving competition. So everybody is looking at me on the diving board. Everybody. It's my turn. And my little niece walks up to me and points at me and goes, why does your belly stick out so much? I was mortified. But I can't say anything. She's 2. It's not like I can get mad, but I'm sitting there on the diving board. And in my head, I'm like, shit. So whatever the moment is, busting out of clothes, got to go clothing shopping. That moment, it creates the state of pain. I cannot be in this state of pain. And I need to get out of it. When? Right now. Right now. So I will now go through a lesser form of pain because I believe it will lead me to pleasure. I need to stop experiencing this present pain. Something has happened that has created an intense sense of awareness of my present reality, of my size, of what I've done to myself. This is what always started mine. The real weight loss one. Because any weight loss I had attempted that had any length of time behind it started with an oh shit moment. If it didn't have that, it tended to fizzle out in a week or two if it even got off the ground past Monday. But go on keto. Let's be real. Keto is painful. It's miserable. I mean, yeah, it's fun for like a week, but it's not that fun. So I'm going to go on keto. I'm going to go on whatever other miserable diet that you chose. Again, one time for me, I chose a ultra low restrictive diet of 800 calories a day. And I'm moving away from this source of pain. I'm getting away. And now I'm getting pleasure because I don't want to be here anymore and I want to lose weight. And because I'm crashing, the numbers coming off at the scale and I'm like, I'm losing weight. This is great. Look at this miserable diet. No, it's not miserable. I love this keto. I'm going to make this my way of life or whatever the diet. You all know I like to razz on keto. So that's going to be the one I poke fun, but substitute keto for any other prescriptive style diet. And so I would move my way away from that. I'm getting smaller. People are walking up to me going, have you lost a little weight? Why, yes, I have. Thank you. Thank you for noticing that I've lost weight. I am a dieter. I am on a diet and I am successful. It's exactly what I would think. I'm feeling pleasure as a result of going through this little pain of the diet. It's easy to say no because I'm getting all this fun, all this joy. Well, you and I have both been alive long enough to know that no matter how painful a moment, when enough time is put between you and this moment, the pain becomes less. The weight of it becomes less impactful. Of course, the greater the pain, the more time required for this to occur, but it will occur. And often our oh shit moments don't have enough legs to carry us through the whole journey. And on some side, we know this. We feel like we have to lose the weight before our willpower runs out. And so here we are. We're moving away from this. You've lost 10, 12, 15, 20 pounds if you, again, been lucky to make it this far. And then all of a sudden you got a birthday party and there's cake and you really want it. And you're like, it's really not on my diet. Do I want to have some of that cake? And you decide, yeah, you know what? This diet sucks. I'll get back on it tomorrow. Because that oh shit moment's lost all its power. In that moment, you have nothing to help you because you were running away from this. And now the pain of saying no to this cake at this birthday party in front of you is greater than the pleasure that you're getting from losing the weight, because this pleasure is now, and all you're faced with is the pain of staying on your diet. Pain, pleasure. And so you will put aside the pain so that you can experience some pleasure right now, because you've been hooked on pleasure. And of course, every diet starts to slow, all of them, and eventually you start running out of pleasure. And you're in the grind, because every weight loss journey, if you have to lose a lot of weight, you will find yourself in the grind, in the marathon in the middle. And when you crash, you find yourself in the marathon in the middle, completely unequipped to handle it mentally and emotionally. You're not ready. That's why these crash diets don't work, because you lose the weight so fast, and by the time you hit the hard part, you are incapable of continuing because you have lost all of your training time. And that's what you're doing right now. That's why we're starting here on the mental side, because your training mentally and emotionally starts today. Starts right now. You see, you're running away from this moment. So I need to ask you a question. Are you running away from being fat, or are you running towards a reward? Otherwise known as your why. You need a why to lose weight. You must have a why. Not only should you have one why, you should have a plethora of whys. You should have an entire basket of whys. Whys coming out of your ears, just whys for days. And I'll bet you don't even have one right now, because you might be saying, oh, I want to lose weight because I want to be healthy. That's the bullcrap answer that everybody gives. What does healthy even mean? You're going to still want to be healthy even once you get there. An effective why must have a couple of criteria met. The first, it must move you emotionally. It must trigger an emotion. It doesn't have to be happy. It can be a sad one. It can be an angry one. It doesn't matter. It just needs to emotionally move you. Now, I'm going to strongly encourage you to go after the happy ones. Losing weight to spite the haters, while it can be powerful, is a tricky one. So, the second criteria of your why is it must be something you can turn into a vision. You should be able to close your eyes and see your why in your mind's eye. You should be able to create it as if it is a dream, as if it is a memory that has not yet existed. You should be able to make it real in your mind, and it must move you. And the reason why we're starting with this now is because this is not an answer you can find in a week. I'm going to have you start working on it this week, but it is not something you will have answered in a week. This will take time. You'll have to continually come back to it and beat up on your why more and more and more and gain a greater sense of understanding of what it is. You'll see, does it actually still mean anything to me now? Because what you're going to do is you're going to shift from running away from that moment to running to your why. I'm going to tell you a little bit about one of mine in the beginning. Mine changed and they've continued to evolve. But let's go to the beginning of my journey. I started swimming in the beginning of mine. And I didn't have any headphones or anything that I could use in the pool. And so it was just me and my thoughts for 20 minutes as I was swimming laps back and forth. So I had to think on things. One of the things that I would think about is, why am I in this pool swimming when I feel like I'm about to drown half of the time? I mean, I'm a fairly decent swimmer, but I still felt like I was going to drown because I was a terrible swimmer at that point. Like, I knew technically how to swim, but I was in such terrible shape, it was just awful. And so I would think about, why am I here? And what I wanted to do is I wanted to go dancing. Maybe it sounds crazy, I don't know. You see, I'd never in my entire life had the courage to dance, but I love music so much. I am so passionate about music. I love to sing. I love to play music. I love to feel music and experience it. And I never had been able to have the confidence to dance to music with other people. It would just be the guy standing on the side, just kind of moving his head. And I didn't want to be just the guy that had all the confidence, or people were like, oh, look at the big guy, bless him, he's got the confidence to dance. I wish I had the confidence like that guy. No, I wanted to dance in a room full of people and disappear into the crowd as a nobody. I didn't want to stand out. I didn't want my size to be a descriptor of me in that room. And then I would think, what do the lights look like? I could see the lasers in the fog because I like electronic dance music, and I wanted it to be EDM music so I could hear the music, and I wanted to have that music as the beat was building and building, and then it drops, and I wanted to be there for it. And I would think of, like, how are my hands going to feel? How are my arms going to feel? What kind of clothes am I going to wear? How's it going to fit as it sits against my shoulders? What kind of hair am I going to have? What am I going to be thinking? What am I going to be feeling? Every time I'd get in that pool, I would think on it, and I would make my vision, my why, more clear. I would add more details to it. I'd add color. I'd add smells. I'd think about how I'd feel in that moment. And I would do different scenarios. I would change it up and just see what sort of excites me. And I would kept it real. Now, I achieved that dream. I actually did do that. Now, I didn't wait till the end. And we'll talk about this at another time, about having your why and making it more tangible. But I was visiting it. You need one. You must. You must have one. Because your why is your North Star. Because hard times are going to come. Not maybe will come. They're going to come. Good things fall apart. Bad things fall apart too. But unfortunately, it rains on us all at some point in time. No matter how great you're doing, no matter how much you got weight loss licked, there's going to come a period of time where you don't want to do it. You don't want to continue on because the pain of continuing seems too great. And you want pleasure. You want release. And the problem is what's going to happen is it's often going to be when life is putting you in so much pain. This could be for so many reasons. Maybe somebody around close to you passes away or gets sick. Maybe you get some really bad news at work. Maybe a close friend is going through something. Maybe along this journey you uncover some past trauma, some past things that you've not dealt with, that you didn't know are still inside, and they're going to creep their way up. Whatever it is, it's going to be right there for you to feel. And when that shows up, not if, when, if you do not have a North Star, if you do not have something that you can look to get your bearings, to keep you focused, to keep you moving, to keep you from not just throwing it all out the window, to at least hang on to some of it. And at the very least, when you get through to the other side of the hard time, to get you to be motivated enough to keep going and get back on the horse, you need a why. And in that moment, when the hard times come, that is not the time for you to create it. You need to already have one. You need to already have a why. You need to have many whys. And we'll talk more on this later on how to use your why to get you through the hard times. But that is not the purpose of today. The purpose of today is to begin the process of digging into your why and finding out what it is. To get its first iterations, the first of many. So we're going to do something called the levels of why. It's a very simple exercise. It's a very powerful exercise. And the way it works is you start with a very simple question. Why do I want to lose weight? And I'm going to encourage you to take out your journal and write this down at the top of a page. Why do I want to lose weight? And then just answer it. First thought that comes to mind, just answer it. Don't go long, lengthy, just answer it. And then you're going to say, why? And then right below that, you're going to say, the answer. And then you're going to go, why? And then below that, you're going to answer it. You see where we're going here? Because then you're going to go, why? Why is that the answer? You're going to go 5 levels deep. Sometimes you'll reach a point where you're like, well, I think there's 2 or 3 answers. Pick one. Go down that rabbit hole. You might have to do this 2, 3, 4 times so that you can come up with 2, 3, 4 first iterations of a why that you can begin working on. Some of you will uncover your why pretty quickly. Some of you are already fairly in tune with it, and that is okay. This may not be an area that you will struggle with. You will have your area that you will. Some of you, you might find this part to be a struggle. Some of you might be like, I don't know why I want to lose the weight. I just do. You might have to dig a little bit more. So I have a question for you, though, I want you to think on. And I want you to perhaps consider answering this one to yourself before you do the levels of why. The question is, if I could snap my fingers and give you your dream body right now, what would you do with it? What would you do with that body? What life would you go live? How would your life be different with that body than it is now? What experiences would you have that you're not having right now? How would you treat that body in ways that you're not treating your current body? Think on that question before you start your levels of why exercise, and you will find that that information can be fueled, and you can use some of that to help jumpstart your answering of this why. It's important that you have the experience, though, of doing it, and you begin to write it down so that you can visit it later and refine it, make it more clear, just as I would do in the pool and make my vision more and more clear. You will do the same with yours. Now, I've only given you one of my whys, and there are more, and I'll talk about them in the group session. So I look forward to seeing you there and talking about it.